Hey, Quest for Gear viewers. Today we're going to do a video on getting started with Eurorack. Now, I am not an expert, and if you're just getting started with Eurorack, then I'm only a little bit ahead of you in terms of getting started with Eurorack knowledge and how does it all work? What do you need to buy? Now, I say that. I've probably been dealing with this stuff for about, 3 years, and I think I've made all the mistakes that they will warn you not to make. They will tell you to have a plan. They will tell you to only buy what you need. They will tell you to start small. And I knew that advice and I didn't heed it. I charged right in and bought a whole bunch of stuff. Now, in some things in this life, I'm smart and I'm quick and I'm fast to figure out. And in other things, I'm very dumb. I just it takes me forever to wrap my head around certain concepts. I think maybe everybody is like that with a little bit of everything, but with the Eurorack, it took me longer than it should have to get my head around how it all works. I feel like I got a Eurorack learning disability, but here we go anyway. It wasn't until I bought several systems, so I've built this one. This is Eurorack number 5 that I've disassembled and built. I've had other. This is a Go case. I currently have the Moog grandmother, which I do love, by the way. I had the Arturia mini brute, which I loved, but I had to have all these things to actually get my head around it. Like I said, I feel like I had a Eurorack learning disability, despite watching the Andrew Huang videos and lots of videos online and doing lots of reading. They didn't help me. You know what helped me? Buying all this crap up, making all the mistakes, like failing. That's what helped me. But anyway, excuse me a minute. This today's video is brought to you by Black Irish Kool-Aid. Get you some. All right, what are some of the bare minimum things that you need for a Eurorack? Well, you need a case and a power supply. So if you really don't know what you're looking at here, see this black frame here? This is my Eurorack case. This is a Behringer Eurorack Go. They're pretty affordable. You can get them out of Sweetwater. In Canada, you can also get them out of Sweetwater. We don't have any reliable way to buy Behringer Eurorack Go cases up here because we are all a bunch of slightly retarded Eskimos. Anything north of Minnesota, right? So yeah, you're going to have to, whether you're Canadian or USA citizen, you're going to have to buy your Behringer Eurorack Go case from Sweetwater because Long and McQuaid and Cosmo Music, they don't have one, they can't get one, they don't know nothing about nothing, they tried nothing and they're all out of ideas, and sorry about your luck. So yeah, just go to Sweetwater and get yourself a Behringer Eurorack Go case. If you need a case this big, and they say, oh, I don't need a case that big. Yeah, but real estate wise and, per HP, which is the width, that's the, these are all measured in HP. Each one of these, HP is like the horizontal, I don't know what it stands for, horizontal parameter, but per HP, your cheapest Eurorack case is going to be this bad boy. Trust me. You're not going to find cheaper than this. Okay. What are some of the bare minimum things that you need? It took me forever just to find this information out. You need a vocal controlled oscillator. That's going to make your noises, your sounds. It's your square waves, your triangle waves, all your waves. So you're going to need a VCO. You're going to need, at the end of all that, a VCA. Voltage controlled amplifier. That's what amplifies the sound and lets it out into a speaker so that you can hear. You're going to need some kind of speaker. Okay. You're going to need the case and power supply. Well, that's here. That is the thing that surrounds these modules. You could do with an LFO, which is a low frequency oscillator. So these are voltage controlled oscillators. These are the oscillators that you mostly hear. Well, LFO is a It's a low frequency oscillator for doing automation and control voltages. We'll get into that. You could do with an ADSR. Attack, delay, sustain, and release, or envelope as they call it. And you could do with some kind of filtering. Let's call that EQ. You come from a different world, like, car stereo or guitar amp, maybe EQ would be a better term for you than filter. And there you have your basic Eurorack setup. So it took me a long time just to simplify it into that. Despite reading lots of Reddit, despite Andrew Huang's videos. Andrew Huang's got a good YouTube video on getting started. I've probably watched it 50 times. It helped, but it didn't. I found that he dove too deep into like all the stuff you could buy. You could buy this, you could buy this, you could buy that. Andrew Huang has a virtually unlimited budget. He can buy anything he wants, and it just, as a beginner, it helped, but it didn't. So let's come over here. Like I said, what helped me was making all the mistakes. It cost me a lot of money though. So I'm just hoping I can help somebody, one of you guys, not make some of the mistakes I did. And you know what? If you wanted to not make some of the mistakes I did, cut to the chase and buy a grandmother. Just buy a grandmother. You say, well, I won't be getting into Eurorack. Well, you kind of will, because it's semi-modular. Semi-modular means you can play it now without patching a single thing, okay? So you can buy the grandmother now and have a synthesizer that just works right out of the box without ever patching anything. And then get into your Eurorack style later. You'll be learning Eurorack by learning the grandmother. So, I mean, I can end the video right here and just tell you to go buy the Moog grandmother, use it for 3 years, and you'll be a Eurorack person. You'll get real smart real fast. Anyway, we drew this. Where's this on the Moog grandmother? VCO, vocal control oscillator. Well, those are our oscillators right here. We got 2 of them on the grandmother. 2 of them. You can make a third VCO on the grandmother through some hack tricks with patching, but let's not get into that. 2 of them. It's not going to work right now. I'll have to show you why in a second. Now we're looking for our LFO. Where's that? Our LFO is, it's been a while. You gotta be kidding me. There's no LFO on this bad boy? I am just realizing just now that if there's an LFO on this thing, I'm too many black Kool-Aids in to find it. I don't see the LFO. All right. Filter, EQ. Well, that stuff is all here, clearly marked on filter. Right, so it's like EQ. It's just killing me that there's no LFO in this thing. Yeah, am I losing my mind? Anyway, let's not worry about that. Told you need an ADSR, attack, decay, sustain, and release. Where's that at? Well, that's also called an envelope, which is here. Envelope, attack, decay, sustain, and release, ADSR. This has also got reverb, which is cool, the grandmother. You need a VCA, voltage control amplifier. Where's that? Well, I guess on here, it's pretty much your output. Look at all the dust. I keep this damn thing covered and it gets dust. So, I don't want to contradict myself, but I just think that the Moog grandmother, is a good platform to learn Eurorack on. I also had that Arturia mini brute, I think it was called. It was also great, and it had all this stuff laid out. It's killing me that I can't find the LFO on this thing, though. Is there no LFO on the grandmother? Like, I'm losing my mind. But anyway, screw it. We'll come back over here. Let's make the most basic patch ever, using this as the guideline. So, step 1, let's go to our VCO, which is this guy. This is our, this is the most basic thing you can do. Now this is 2 of them, VCO 1, VCO 2. So what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna on-patch. Their Eurorack, you have to, the Eurorack, which is this, you know, this, you have to patch. You ain't gonna get nothing. The Moog grandmother is semi-modular. You'll get sounds out of it without a single patch. So, take a Eurorack cable, like so. I'm going to come out of the output, and I'm going to go into a mixer, which is here. I don't want it to blast me, so I'm going to turn that down. That's it. That's the most basic thing you can do. I got a speaker over here, by the way. This is a mixer, and it outputs from this cable into the speaker. So this is the most basic thing you can do with a Eurorack synthesizer. So and that's just me adjusting the pitch ranges. What else we got here? We got an LFO. So let's find my LFO. I've got one here just in this bottom module. This is an LFO. What am I going to do with that? Well, that's a low frequency oscillator. So an oscillator is a wave, and it could be sharp like a triangle or a saw, or it could be round, or it could be square. LFOs are good to modulate, or I should say manipulate or move parameters. So one of the parameters you see me doing here in the VCO are, you know, pitch. Well, what if I had an invisible hand doing that for me? Well, that's where the LFO comes in. So I'm going to take the output of the LFO, and I'm going to put it into this modular in. And now I've got this invisible hand doing that for me. So it's doing this. It's doing that for me, right? And I can tell this LFO to LFO some more. Okay. There's probably an LFO in the grandmother. And I don't mind looking stupid in my videos that I don't edit, but I'm just beside myself right now going, where's the LFO in the grandmother? There's got to be an LFO in the grandmother. I'll look it up later and I'll feel even worse. But anyway, whatever. So, we've covered the VCO and the LFO. Oh, there's another thing on this diagram you're going to need. Let's put the camera down. You're going to need an input. You're going to need a way to play this damn thing. And that can either be a keyboard, or it can be a sequencer. Okay. So I've got an Arturia keyboard here. And it has USB, which doesn't do us a damn bit of good, because this ain't no computer. This thing doesn't have USB. It's got MIDI DIN, which is here. Well, that don't do us no good. I got no MIDI DIN on the Eurorack. And then it's got CV outputs, mod, gate, and pitch. Now that does help us. Okay, I'm gonna do I'll do green from the gate, and I'm gonna do purple for the pitch. Now, why this is good is it's got CV output. As Eurorack is very CV friendly. That's not to say that you can't get Eurorack with the MIDI DINs, that 5-pin MIDI DIN, that round MIDI plug that you may or may not be familiar with. But Eurorack is very CV friendly. What is CV? Control voltage. So just like that LFO, which is like a hidden invisible hand, was going woo, 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 just like that LFO is controlling the pitch to the VCO. It was doing it with voltages. So what if you had invisible hand, little elves, little invisible hand helpers, and we called them CV, control voltage. Okay, so in this case, my green is the gate, and my purple is the pitch. So I'm going to let the control voltage from the keyboard, my purple, do the pitch over here. And I'm going to let the green do the gate over on the VCA, which I'm going to do it. I'll probably get this wrong, but I will figure it out. I'm going to do it here. So VCA, that's the last thing on my list. What are we doing? Well, we're doing the input, the keyboards, the gate and the pitch. The pitch is going to go to the VCO, and the gate is going to go to the VCA. It'll all make sense in a minute, I hope. So we're going to let the audio signal, I got a lead long enough, which I don't. You got to make sure you got long enough leads. You're going to get nowhere. Let's see if I can get a long ass lead here. I'll do it in blue. So I'm going to go from the output of this VCO to the input of this VCA. And then I've got to go from the output of this VCA into my mixer. So I'm going to go here to here. Hypothesis. What do I think is going to happen? Even though I'm several Black Irish Kool-Aids in here. I think that when I press a key on my arturia keyboard, the pitch, which is the purple, is going to modulate or change the pitch of my VCO. Depending on which key I push, it'll send out a different voltage, which is going to modulate the pitch on my VCO, and it will send a signal will be sent out to this VCA into the in, and the gate, which is the green one, is going to, a gate like opens and closes. Think of it as a literal gate. I mean, we call it a gate in electronics, and that's what it is. It opens and closes. So I think when I play this keyboard, I'm going to get my notes, and I'm going to hear it. Let's just see. You know, the important thing about electronics is you have to power them. So I'm going to go ahead and plug this in. And here we go. So yeah, despite not having power, now it has power, and it does what I said. I got pitch, and I've got gate, which is allowing the signal out. Now you hear that little bit of, I don't know if the phone can pick that up, that the phone camera can pick that up, but the gate is allowing too much through. I'm just going to see if I can adjust that a little bit. There we go. Now, I said we could use a keyboard or a sequencer. A keyboard means my hands play the keyboard. But a sequencer means it's pre-programmed to do it for me. So now we've covered most of this. We've got our case and power supply, which is the black frame here. This black Behringer Eurorack Go and the power that's powering all these guys, these modules. We've got our VCO. We've got an LFO here. We're just not using it at the moment. And we've got our VCA, which is here. And we've got this could go right to the speaker. I don't need to use this mixer. Let me just show you that. Ooh, that hurt my ears. But now I don't have volume control. It's just full out. We're at the mercy of the loudest of the speaker, which is why I like to use this speaker. So I'm going to go like this. Okay. So Dan, we've covered most of this. We just didn't cover the filter or the ADSR. Well, let's get ourselves a filter. So I've got a Wasp filter here. Now let me tell you too, in the Eurorack's compatible with other Euroracks. I could have been patching this stuff into the grandmother. You can patch this into this. You can also patch it into the Behringer Model D. You could patch it into the Behringer ARP 2600. Eurorack's compatible with Eurorack. You can just keep adding modules. Okay. Filter. Well, this is a filter. So I told you that filters like EQ, if that makes more sense for you guys, where you get your treble, your bass. Everybody's familiar, I think, with like a home stereo or a car stereo EQ. So we're going to take the audio part, the audio bus. There's kind of two signal chains in Eurorack. There's the audio, which in this case for me is this blue wire, and then there's your CV, that control voltage. So in my case would be this purple wire at this point. Let's take the audio, and instead of going straight up into this VCA, let's put it into this filter, into audio in, and then we'll go straight out. So I got two outs here. I'll go right here and to out. Now, let's just kind of like 12 o'clock these knobs. I should get a weak signal. I'm just going to put the level up. There we go. But it is going through the filter now. I told you it's like EQ, so check this out. Now, why don't we take our good friend LFO, which I told you was like an invisible set of hands. We'll take our buddy LFO over here. We'll get him to automatically do that for us. All right, so now we have the LFO controlling a filter. Let's get our ADSR friend involved here. So instead of going right from the filter into the VCA, now we're going to make a quick trip down to our buddy down here, which is a ADSR. So we're going to go, I'm going to get this wrong, but we'll get it right in a minute. I'm going to go, yeah, this one's harder. We got to gate it and we got to output it. How does that work? So it's more of a CV. It's not really, you don't really put the audio through there. So we'll continue on with the audio here. And instead we're going to manipulate our gate, which is this one. So we're going to gate here. And then we're going to go out to here. Yeah, that's working. It's hard to explain what this is doing. It's controlling the gate, the attack, the decay, the sustain and release of how much of each parameter it's allowing through. That's a harder concept to grasp. It is working, but it's going to be hard in this video for me to explain to you what it's doing. But we did get that guy put in. I'm going to go ahead and cross him out off our list for you beginners and say, don't worry about the ADSR for now. Just get yourself a case and power supply, a VCO, an LFO, a filter. Don't worry about an ADSR to start. Buy that module like 6 months later. Get yourself a VCA so you can get out to a speaker, and get yourself either a keyboard or a sequencer. Now, I think that you should buy Behringer stuff. It's cheap as hell. The Behringer Eurorack Go case is cheap. I don't get, nobody pays me to say this stuff. Okay. I don't get nothing. Nobody pays me nothing. YouTube doesn't pay me. Behringer doesn't pay me. But this stuff's cheap as hell on Amazon and Reverb, and they come on sale. I mean, they have sales on this stuff. This VCO will be on sale, which is weird, you know. You see like pork chops on sale, but you don't expect your VCOs to come on sale, but they do. It's strange. Get yourself the Behringer 112 VCO. get yourself a Behringer Eurorack Go. If you want an LFO, there's one included here in the Behringer 150. Is that what that says? I don't have my glasses on. If you want a nice filter, I'm sure Behringer sells one. I don't know offhand what to tell you to get. So just, grab a Wasp if you can get it. This is dope for Wasp. Oh, here. These are filters. The Behringer 923 or the Behringer 904B. So I could use them instead. I'll show you how those work. So let's get rid of this ADSR stuff. It's hard to describe and hard to think about. So let's go back to no ADSR. I'm going to take my audio and we'll go signal in and we'll go signal. I don't want the LFO doing it. I want the signal to come out here. Okay, that's a high-low pass filter. So not a true, not a very versatile filter, but it is a filter. Here's a low pass, which means it lets the low frequencies pass. Definitely not the nicest sounding filters for sure. Air filters though. So, anyway, get yourself a Wasp. It'll be the most expensive module out of this bunch. For a VCA, get yourself a Behringer 130. For a speaker, I'm just using an a Yamaha HS5, just because they're $250 Canadian. I don't know what that is in US money. Maybe like $190 US, something like that. Just a single Amazon HS5. You don't need two speakers because it's mono, So anyway, we're 27 minutes now. I hope this helps. I hope this clears up some of the stuff that no one explained to me like I was 5. I hope I explained it to you like you were 5. If you got any comments, questions, concerns, criticisms, please put them in the comments below. Like and subscribe if you want to. And yeah, thanks a lot, guys. I hope this helps somebody.